Welcome back to Midwest Esports Formula One Division 1 here on Nick and Mitch. Tonight we are in Qatar, and I have to grab Nick's video again because we were testing something earlier, so we'll mess around with that here.
There's me throwing the peace sign. Hey, hi, welcome back, everyone. We had a proper sign on this week, but that was just about where it ended. So we're all good. We're off to a great start.
Yeah, you were testing some new features with some audio waveforms, and I think it refreshed the link that I used for your video. You are back now.
Yeah, we are here, and we are here. It is week 6 of season 12. 6 out of 15 races will be in the books following tonight's event. We are in none other than Qatar for the low sail circuit, the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to get underway here in just a moment. Drivers are getting prepped for Q1 and only. And this one is going to be similar to Suzuka. It's pretty much all out gas the entire time. So this one's going to be just another high-speed duel between these extraordinary drivers.
And this one, we saw the interdivision invitational race in the off-season, where they had the drivers from the lower divisions in the fastest cars, and then the drivers from Division 1 in the slowest cars with realistic car settings turned on. That one was fun to watch. It was pretty hectic, especially right at the end. Some of the drivers were crashing just before the finish line. And this track, thankfully it wasn't raining during that. I've said it before, I don't think it would rain here, but you never know.
Yeah, anything can happen. I think I had it written in my intro that we were swapping the rain for sandstorms. So storms of a different type this time around. But I don't know if the F1 series, video game series, throws sandstorms into the mix. They really should. Maybe not sandstorms, but real life physics, where if it's windy, certain corners may push some sand onto the edge of the track. That would be fun. I do know that sand or not, this track is very, very difficult and unforgiving if you are to find yourself on one of the curbs. This one is known for its rather finicky curbs, some very high sections here. So you want to try and keep it between the painted white lines. We are now on board with the Alfa Romeo of Travis Scott's. Looks like we have, or we should have at least, a full lobby of Division 1 drivers. No substitutes tonight as far as I can see.
I see 18 drivers on this list, though.
Yeah, we may be waiting for 2 more. Sounds like is GSR Edwin? Roll call.
Nope.
Waiting for GSR Edwin and Cynical. We are waiting on those 2. They have not called out for tonight's race, so they still may show up. But if not, we have 18 of the 20 designated Division 1 drivers for tonight's contest. Most of the drivers on their outlap already, just 20 seconds into Q1 and only, and these drivers want to get these cars out on track to get some warm-up laps, get some heat in those tires as they try and sprint around the crown. What do you call the low sail circuit? I really think it looks like a crown. Oh, you're muted over there.
I call it a W. It also looks like a coral reef, kind of. I think is there a Pokemon that looks that shape too? I feel like I've seen a meme with the Pokemon. It's like the gelatin. Oh, we're gonna find this.
Muck? It's not Muck. It wouldn't be Mr. Mime with the weird head. If anyone in chat, do we have live chat
Ditto.
on OBS? It's Ditto. I was gonna say Diglett.
Is it? Wait.
Is it the 3?
I don't know. It's probably an evolution if we're... Yeah. I wasn't a big Pokemon kid growing up, so... It's kind of hard to follow that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Ditto. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought Muck... That's what I thought Muck was. That might be an evolution of Ditto. Do we have live chat in Streamlabs?
Yeah. Sure, that's a good question. It looks a little
we have 7 viewers, and it's very unlike 7 viewers. But yeah, okay, no one has said anything. So, cool. Hi.
I'll say something on my account, and then we'll get there.
There you go. We'll see if it works. You guys are the best. The Plums goes fastest as Mac sends his Haas into a wall. That looks like he is missing a front wing, so he will have to head back to the pits. We are under caution in Sector 2. It doesn't look like debris made its way onto the track. It's just stuck in the gravel pit. So Mac will get back on with the lap, head back into the pits, and refit that nose to try and set a fastest. Try and beat Gott Palmer in the Alpine, once again setting blistering pace at a 1:20.733. The next fastest, almost a second faster. Tinel now closing that gap to about a 10th in the McLaren.
We figured out the chat too. Ellie says good evening.
There we go.
Good
Thanks,
evening
Ellie.
back to you.
Good evening.
Good evening. And we have a Suey fan in the mix now too, Hayden.
Ooh,
The two brothers, correct?
I was just going to say, yeah, Ellie and Hayden here battling it out in the chats.
I mean, it is for Team Aston Martin, so
Yeah, that's true.
you can always cheer for the same team.
I wonder if they're together tonight. Is it like, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but is it like a wine and F1 kind of night while the boys are running? Who knows? It'd be so much fun. If we live closer than like 400 miles apart,
Yeah.
we could do that.
One day.
Yeah, someday.
All the screen set up. I know my family watches the
house.
F1 races sometimes when we're commenting on my cousin's race. It'll be like 8 people.
Yeah. That was my folks were in DC. They were in Northern Virginia with my sister 3 weeks ago. And they all had it on. After dinner, they came back to her house, and my dad said, "Oh, we got to put the race on." So all 4 of them were sitting around watching the race. That is fun when you get little watch parties on a relatively small league like this. Still got Palmer up top, but most of the drivers have gone into the pits. Not sure if they are tweaking their downforce settings or if they're fitting a new set of tires. But as it stands right now, Tinel got Palmer, the only 2 to breach the 120 mark. This is a track, like I said, it's not a lot of heavy braking and not a lot of really optimal overtaking positions. So it's really going to come down to the downforce that they are able to put on these cars. So I'm sure some of these drivers are tweaking their car setups in and out of the pits here in qualifying, trying to get everything perfect for tonight's race. But I'm looking forward to this one. Anything can happen. Even though there aren't opportune overtake points, that doesn't mean that someone's going to try a random corner, a random chicane, just kind of send it in and see what happens.
I say it's back-to-back weeks now with just one DRS zone on the track. On the finish line straight, Suzuka last week, so it's hard to overtake unless you're going down that straight. This one's a long finish line straight, though.
Yeah.
And it is one of the furthest distances from the start of the DRS to the finish line, so the final lap can have some pretty good shootouts at the end of the as the race ends.
Yeah, sending it the whole way down to the line, able to get those cars to max tilt before you cross.
I think in the interdivisional race there was kind of a last second battle, maybe not for first but second and third, where they fanned out right at the very end and decided by milliseconds.
Well, we may have a pole here set by just milliseconds, as Tinel still on an outlap now, trying to better that second best time, but he may be getting pretty close here on top of the grid. 2 drivers, Mac and Houdini, still yet to set a time, but they're both out on track now. Mac fitted with a brand new front wing. We'll see what kind of luck that brings. There is brief caution through Sector 2 and 3 as cars pass. And before we really get underway, I missed it the last few weeks, but I do want to thank Commissioner Pork Chops, along with our stewards for Division 1, Lancy, and Knuckles, the head D1 steward for Season 12. Thank you very much for all of your work on race day and throughout the week, getting us to and from this point. Surprisingly, last week, after a few incidents in Suzuka in Japan, there were no steward reports from Division 1. So the standings you saw at the end of last week were the standings that were recorded in the end. That was, again, a podium of Williams, Alpine, and McLaren. Joe Workingman, Got Palmer, and Race Day finishing out the top 3 in Suzuka. And Sui was the only driver last week who did not finish the race. So we'll see what the second Aston Martin can do this week after an unfortunate retirement in the first, was it the first corner of the first lap that Aston Martin?
Yeah, it was close to the first or second corner. We had Joe Workingman now taking pole position with a 122.71.
Get it, son.
Just getting into draft range in the finish line straight, so picking up some precious time from the drivers in front of him.
Absolutely shot out of a cannon. Yeah, Joe Workingman has had one hell of a season so far.
And I'm sure these guys know it by now, but I just remembered when I did an IndyCar race for my league 2 weekends ago in qualifying, I forgot that you have DRS, or at least ERS, like speed boost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I qualified last. There was like 3 of us that forgot that was an option in those cars because we normally raced GT3s. So everyone was going a second faster. Everyone was in draft teams. I'm out there all alone, like can't get anyone to draft. And then I'm like, why were they so fast?
Where are they finding it? Where are they finding it?
DRS wasn't available in the practice laps.
Oh, that is
like, oh,
brutal.
You don't get it. And then after qualifying, oh, you get it.
Yeah, that's just not right. That is messed up.
Know your car, I guess.
Palmer's able to better his time at a 126 now, a 120.6, sorry. But it still won't be enough to dethrone Williams. Tinel still sitting in third. 2 of those 3 drivers now in pits, as we see both of the Alpines on track together, Chuck Blazin and Got Palmer. Maybe Got Palmer will give Chuck just a bit of a tow here through the end. Doesn't look like it. They are on their own. DRS or no.
He was getting at the start of the lap, which should give him a few tenths of a second, and Got Palmer was also a bit up on his last one. So when they cross into sector 3, Got Palmer is going to be 3 seconds over, so I imagine he will not improve, but does have an opportunity to give his teammate Chuck Blazing a tow across the finish line unless Got Palmer decides to go into the pits, which he will, and Chuck Blazing will as well.
There you have it. Just under 6 minutes to go in Q1 and only. Scarenzi yet to breach the top 5. Will he be able to do it this lap? Now on sector 3, coming across the line, he will. Scarenzi moves up into 4th. Provisionally with 5 minutes to go. This is very like Scarenzi, waiting to the very last moment, setting that time. Nothing out of the ordinary there. But I'm sure 4th place is not ideal. It's not exactly where he wants to start this race. Who knows? Maybe he does. Maybe he has something. Maybe he knows something that we don't. Still only 18 drivers on the grid, so it looks like Cynical and GSR Edwin maybe no-shows for tonight's race. That puts Red Bull and Mercedes at the disadvantage from the jump.
Everyone going into the pits. trying to dig up the MidWest stats vault.
It was just recently updated and
It was, and I have several channels kind of muted or at least closed.
Yeah,
Statistics. I bet you it's in there.
I would bet money there.
It does look like it. I was curious to see how Scarenzi's done in qualifying this year, because I just on the top of my head I don't remember too many poles from him this year or this season.
No, he has been in the second or third row for most, if not all, of the races. I think you're right there.
And it doesn't look like it would show me in this stat sheet. This is just all time.
A little under 3.5 to go. It is still Joe Workingman atop the board, followed by Gott Palmertino and Scarenzi. Race day not far behind in the second McLaren, bookending the Astons. On board now with VTech as he takes his minute into the pits. Mitch Burns, one slot down. Mitch, if you can flick us down to the Alpha Tauri, is now on his hot lap. Thank you. I know you're digging through a couple of things. Sui is out of qualifying. Not sure what happened there. If it wasn't on track, so maybe he just decided to stay in pits and relinquish the last few minutes. Mitch Burns getting around one of the McLarens there as they yield to his fast lap. Joe Workingman also out of the session. Betting on his provisional pole, that will be enough. But Team Nel, Scarenzi, race day, Mac, all out on an outlap, trying to best Joe Workingman. So we'll see if Mackie can hold on to this as he has decided to kick up his feet and maybe go grab one more pee break, one more drink before tonight's event, which I also should go get water. But I think we've passed the point of no return here.
That might be. Looks like Mitch Burns is getting ready to cross the finish line. VTech has retired from the session. And Mitch Burns up to 7th.
Significant
Massive
improvement
jump
there from the Alpha. Yeah, I'll say.
And I think race day is going to get a good toe off of him to start his hot lap. Just kind of following him all through sector 3.
At least thing, he usually doesn't qualify first. He just races the best. I mean, yeah. Wait, is that bougie water bottle that we were talking about a couple
That
minutes
is
ago?
that bougie water. Yeah,
You got it? Nice.
I did get it.
Yeah. We love floating water.
Looks weird. I already broke one glass on the inside. Fell into my ceramic sink.
Oh, I'm mortified. Absolutely mortified of glass drinkware. Katie has a glass cup that she travels around with, and it's not like double walled. It's just a glass like a mason jar, basically. She runs around to work and stuff and throws it in the car, and I'm just like, you are an insane person.
Yeah, this is at least glass inside plastic, so like shouldn't break from this drop unless you take the glass out like I did and then drop side glass.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
You
I was
pop
washing
the inside out.
Yep. I think race day has a really good lap too coming on the final. He was about 0.8 quicker. He's looking good from this camera angle. Second by 1/10 of a second. So
Wow.
Joe Workingman is still holding on to that lead.
Absolutely blistering, though, from race day, able to overtake two of the drivers, Scott Palmer and Tino. McLaren switching places. And this, until they cross the line, we'll see. Someone may get a final say here for the top two lines, but as of right now, it still looks like NLR Mackey, Mr. Joe Workingman himself, will finish in pole once again in Season 12. We will have a Williams atop the grid, followed by two McLarens and an Alpine. It's going to be a fun start here for Week 6 of Season 12 in Losail.
So
At Losail in Qatar.
So he jumped up into third. Got Palmer next across the line in this cluster. Looks like he will be. Scarenzi's making his way behind.
Will he be able to break up the McLaren wall? He will not. McLaren's hold strong, but Scarenzi may have something to say about it as he enters the finish straight.
And Cali Rob came out of nowhere up into 5th. Didn't see him in this top 10 mix. He may have been there. He had quite a significant jump.
Scarenzi will not move positions. Cali Rob, like you said, moving up into 5th, knocking Scarenzi down. Not by much, though. I mean, look at that. 4th through 6th separated by 0.2. I mean, all of those drivers separated by 0.1. And then race day has the best gap. So there we have it. Minute 25 to go for the stragglers. I think it's just race day, but the car is being dragged into the pits. So that is going to do it for qualifying. Mitch, I am going to gamble. I am going to run 10 feet behind me to my bathroom to try and fill up this bottle before we start.
Hurry up.
Here we go.
Best of luck for Nick as he tries to fill it up and hopefully doesn't trip and fall like I would. We have Joe Working Man for Williams taking home pole position. 1/10 of a second behind him is Race Day in the McLaren. And third place is teammate T. Nell. After that, we have Gott Palmer, Cali Rob, Scarenzi, Mac, Nicky, Mitch Burns, and Chuck Blazin to round out the top 10. Looks like we'll have 18 drivers tonight, missing 1 from Red Bull and 1 from Mercedes. So we will have a very exciting race coming up in Qatar in just a moment.
This floodlit beacon on the Qatari landscape is home to Week 6 of the Midwest F1 season. After a heart-pounding battle in Suzuka, we welcome you back to Losail Circuit. As we crawl to the midway point of the season, championship hopefuls are neck and neck. Scarenzi comes into this one hanging onto the driver's lead by just a single point. If he can hold out tonight, it will be his 10th consecutive week atop the points. Opened back in 2004, Qatar is full of medium-speed corners and flowing sections. It's not a huge braking circuit, so drivers are going to need to dial in the optimum downforce on their car. There's really only one optimal overtaking opportunity down the lengthy finish straight, but as always, we can expect the unexpected as this race begins to heat up. Now, before we get underway, we need to recap the season so far. I know I've already said it, but Scarenzi is under serious heat heading into tonight.
He is. Gott Palmer has been putting pressure on him all season, and Joe Working Man in Williams has been climbing the leaderboard at a rapid pace. Scarenzi holding on to the Drivers' Championship by just 1 point, with Joe Working Man 30 points behind, and you can see quite the grouping of drivers the rest of the way down. You check out the race day, actually go Mac, Houdini, just all of that middle field from 185 to 155. 30 points. It looks like separates 10 drivers in the middle. So a lot of positions up for grabs. Over in the Constructors' Championship, Alpine has continued their dominance while Aston Martin has trailed down just a bit with Sui DNFing last week. Williams, with Joe Working Man's work, has climbed up into third place, followed by Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, and Mercedes. We've also seen some good bounce backs from McLaren and AlphaTauri to get closer and closer to Red Bull.
We'll see if any teams can shake up the grid tonight from Losail Circuit in Qatar. This is Midwest eSports Formula One Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. And the driver lineup tonight as the formation lap gets underway. Again, we are without the Mercedes of GSR Edwin We are without the Red Bull of MMR Cynical tonight, as they were not able to join the lobby in time. But we have 18 other drivers, especially 2 McLarens, starting in the front 2 rows of today's grid. As a McLaren fan, I'm really excited for this race start. But it is going to be a wonderful race, I am sure. We have all of the big names atop the board, as is habit at this point. What they'll be able to do here on this course, it's not as roller coastery as it was back in Japan, but definitely a lot to offer in terms of difficulty from the track here tonight.
I believe this one can be tricky with track limits in Sector 2. I know you can sometimes lose the rear of the car. You're putting a lot of stress on the left because you're making a ton of 90-degree turns on the track. And if you run off, you can end up in the dust too. It's also very flat, so that can throw you through a loop. And we're getting the tire strategies from AWS, medium to soft or hard to medium. So let's see what our drivers are rocking right now. Almost everyone on hard tires, except for Joe Working Man in pole position, going on mediums, looking for that early launch to escape DRS. And then Mitch Burns, Gunner, and Houdini also opting for the mediums.
Interesting strategies there from the mid-pack. We'll see if the medium tire pays off for those drivers. Not surprising that Joe has those on in first right now. Like you said, try and get a jump on this pack as they all battle it out. He's going to try and build that lead early. Here we go. Drivers now lining up on the grid. Again, one of, if not the longest DRS activation zones to finish line that we have on the season. So we'll see if there are any heart-stopping moments here to cross the line, to finish one lap, start another, or potentially racing for a checkered flag. Will it be that close? We're just going to have to wait and find out. Week 6 is underway. The cars are under power and the lights are out. Here we go down the straight. It is Joe Working Man up top. Both McLarens behind him as they all hug the left-hand side of the track into the sweeping right-hand corner of turn 1. It looks like everyone is through clean, albeit a few cars going wide to avoid collision. We have a couple movement. Wow, that's not English. We have some movement in the rear of the grid, a quick caution flag, but it was quickly waved off.
Looks like VTech 87 and the Plums are trailing a bit behind the pack. Didn't see if they just got squeezed out of the corner and held back a little bit, or if something happened. We also have Houdini and Travis Scott's teammates in the Alfa Romeos switching back and forth several times. They must have been going side by side through some of these corners.
That's a little nerve-wracking this early into a race to see 2 teammates battling it that hard in lap 1. Hopefully they did have the clearance that they needed to safely battle along those stretches, but we'll see how this plays out. If they're going to play it nice and play as a team, or if they are going for solo glory. Just hope they can both finish this race regardless.
We'll see if anyone made some major jumps off the start. Looks like Caesar in the Mercedes jumped up 2, Houdini up 3. So it does look like VTech and the Plums may have had something go on, because they dropped 2 and 4 spots, and the drivers below them were able to jump up.
Yeah, that turn 1, there is a decent runoff there that you're not going to hit the gravel, but that's not to say. I believe it was turn 2 or 3 where something happened. That may just be lost to time forever. We may never know what happened in those corners. But we'll see if they can bounce back from it.
Looks like Mitch Burns is sneaking up behind Caesar, and I think he had a big climb last race. Is that Mitch Burns?
I'm sorry, your yawn made it sound like you hit a BB there. Mitch Burns. I was like, whoa, Mitch throwing hands.
He did have the grid penalty last week, though, right?
He did,
that was Mitch?
Yeah. Yes. Him and Caesar now going back and forth. Caesar who comes out on top. The tire strategy has changed slightly. It looks like we may be looking at a 2-stop now hard to medium, depending on how few these drivers are running. So we'll see how the pit strategies play out here in a bit, but only lap 2, these tires are plenty fine to continue trucking, as Joe Workingman proves it right there. In the medium shoes goes fastest once again. And it is now Mitch Burns who gets by the Mercedes, the lone Mercedes of Caesar.
He's taking advantage of the DRS zone, and Joe Workingman was able to get over a second of a gap on race day before reaching that checkpoint. So race day, unable to get the DRS. And it's good news for Workingman because he's on those medium tires, so he can continue to chip away for a little bit at this pace and hopefully avoid DRS. That could lead to a battle between Tino and race day.
Hey, his strategy worked. Just like last week, he tried to get away as fast as possible. It's absolutely what you want to do as the leading car. But yeah, it will be interesting to see how the McLarens handle that. Again, are they going to race hard, or are they going to try and tow one another to try and catch that interval back up? I know that's difficult to do, but they have 2 teammates in second and third. They might try.
It'll really depend if Tino can keep enough pace to overtake on that straight with DRS, because race day is not going to slow down to take advantage of doing some leapfrog on the track. But I don't know. I mean, you got Palmer just behind him, who's also going to be chipping away at that pace.
I'm
They got a long line of drivers.
watching this interval between first and second. Joe Workingman putting in the work here, trying to get that past the 1.5 second mark. He's just barely past it now. He has been improving each lap on that interval to the pack. Everyone else has seemed to have settled for the time being. Everyone just around half a second from one another. No big racy moments right now. Scarenzi, a surprising 1.1 seconds behind Callie Robb, separating the front 5 from the mid pretty definitively there. That is going to be tough for Scarenzi to just claw back. It's going to come down to when people pit and if there are any incidents that shake this grid up in any way. But
yeah, it's tough with Scarenzi not having DRS and Callie Robb and the people in front of him having it. They're going to be able to start pulling away from that middle pack, and now Nikki has no DRS off of Scarenzi, so it's kind of just going to be a middleman.
Yeah. You know, we've said this many times before. We don't know. We don't know if he'll be able to do it. Scarenzi always finds a way. I know he's not nervous. It's lap 5 of 29. He has plenty of time. We just got to sit back and be patient. But we also have to speculate wildly. I mean, come on, it's only lap 5 of 29.
No, this track too, and everything's been calm so far. If we don't have a safety car, we're going to have to think of a lot of stuff to cover.
Just say.
That's why I said it. We have a good ad read coming up, all right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you gave me the name, which I have since forgotten.
So have I, so I have to find it.
Yeah, you gave me the name of it last week after the race, and it was phenomenal. And I said, please do not read it to me now. Just wait until next week. So maybe it'll be 2 weeks before we get to that ad read. But for your sake, for the AI's sake, I hope not. Oh, Mac getting very close there to the Williams around that corner. Still half a second out, but he is under DRS, so we'll see if Mac can close the gap and overtake Nikki here. Try and hit his hat into the ring, falling up into the front pack. The closest interval, I believe, right now, besides Houdini back in 13th up on Gunner. Mac's able to hold his bit tighter. Sharia Coleslaw under 2/10 now on VTEC. Mac does get by the Williams up into 7th, and Sharia does get by VTEC. And Plums gets by VTEC as well. VTEC falling to 18th from 16th place. 2 drivers able to get by the Haas in the back pack. It is not the night for the Plums or VTEC. an unfortunate early spin or something that was off camera, quickly pulling them back to the back of the pack here. We'll see if they can get any kind of traction through today's grid, but it is still a solid top 5. The interval to Callie Robb, Scarenzi now has almost 2.5 seconds to make up to catch the Ferrari as this front pack just pulls away. Like you said, they're all under DRS. They're all staying as close as physically possible. None of them want to lose this DRS train right now. It's going to be crucial to all of their success, especially Gott Palmer and Callie Robb, who are trying to hang on there to try and break that wall of McLarens in front of them, gain themselves a podium spot.
It's going to be tough. I mean, you have Scarenzi now at a 3-second gap once you get out of that DRS. Starting to really separate in the packs. It looks like Mac is closing in on Scarenzi. So they've been able to catch up.
Well, the battle can... Sorry.
I was just saying it's just going to bring some of the party together.
The battle continues for 9th place as GSR Caesar gets by Mitch Burns yet again under DRS. I have a feeling it's going to be a long night for these two drivers. Back and forth they will go. But it's Mac now trying to get by Scarenzi. He is 3/10 now behind the Aston. He could do it. Mac has some pace tonight, more so than I've seen in other races this season. Again, I have the memory of a goldfish, so he could have been phenomenal last week, and I just said what I said. But I do know for sure that Mac was the D2 champion last year, so no slouch back there in the Haas.
Ooh, and we have
a bit of a
Joe
slouch.
Working Man picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, which now puts him dead even with race day in terms of race time.
So that is going to be interesting to watch that interval of the McLaren now as Tinel tries to overtake his teammate. He's going to do so, getting up into 2nd place. It is still a papaya 2-3, just switching names on the grid. Mac is also able to get by Scarenzi up into 6th place under DRS. Gunner and the Plums both able to overtake their counterparts as well.
Now we'll see how race day fares, trailing behind his teammate because he might have to let off his pace just a little bit and wait until that DRS zone to get past him once again. And that might give Gott Palmer quite the opportunity to, start putting some pressure on the McLarens, which will make them drive a bit more dodgy up in front.
Definitely. I mean, at this point, it's too early to tell which McLaren has priority, whether or not they're going to favor one car or another. I mean, it looks like they're pretty dead even on pace right now.
And Scarenzi just picked up a 3-second time penalty too.
Well, like you said, this track is definitely notorious for it, especially once you start racing. I mean, I know Scarenzi did not want to give up that position to Mac, so I'm sure he's pushing as hard as he can to keep that interval where it is right now, under half a second. And in doing so, sometimes you just whip a little past the lines.
And interesting that Working Man picked one of those up because he was so far ahead, about 3 seconds in front of the pack. It's just hard on this track. And I know those top drivers will push for every second possible.
Absolutely. Well, we have another switch, a few other switches. Houdini getting by Gunner. Scarenzi, once again, getting by Mac. That's going to be a battle to keep our eyes on. And Race Day getting by his teammate, Tinel. So back and forth we go. I have a feeling that this is going to be just the story of the race. 20 laps remain here in Qatar as we have yet... I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
This is one of those tracks where having a ticket at the finish line is probably the best spot to have a ticket because you just see all of the overtakes happen there.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I guess looking at it, there really aren't many stands at the rest of the track here, are there?
No, I mean, it is kind of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of Qatar.
The Qatar and Bahrain both have that, with finish line having a ton of stuff for the fans in for the bleachers, and then the rest of the track being very pretty at nighttime, but not a lot of fans scattered around.
Yeah, definitely pros and cons. I mean, you know, there is something to say about a race like Mexico, where we're going to have some action here. Got Palmer finally breaking the McLaren wall up into third place. The Alpine goes. Mack also getting ahead of Scarenzi yet again, and Gunner passing Houdini yet again. Scarenzi, it is an absolute dogfight. These two going back and forth, back and forth. Scarenzi is able to hold on to 6th place. We need just a picture-in-picture of this battle for the rest of the race.
I know Nicky's now catching up on them. He has about the same gap. So we're going to have quite the battle between those three. Looks like we have another one developing between Mitch Burns, Caesar, and Chuck Blazin. Chuck getting so close.
Very, very close from Chuck Blazin. We got a message on Instagram from Chuck Blazin. I'm going to go back and reread that. Yeah. Hey, Penguins won in overtime.
The overtime part's not great because we're battling Detroit, but win's a win.
A win's a win. All right, keep eyes on here. I'm going to dig through DMs real quick.
I am locked in. Looks like Scott Palmer's going to be right behind Race Day, so he has a chance to jump Race Day now with this DRS, and I think he's easily going to clear that. And we'll see if Race Day's teammate will challenge him. Doesn't look like it. Got Palmer's moving into 2nd place. Mack and Screnzi yet again, becoming friends at the first corner.
Yeah, so Chuck Blazin messaged us and sent us the POV when he returned to P10 in the last lap at Suzuka last week. Here's how it happened. And then, you know, just another message. It's hard to believe that the top 5 drivers are faster than I am, even though I do practice a lot. Still trying to figure out how I can get their speed. They're just unbelievable drivers. So giving props to the top 5. I mean, yeah, they are truly in a league of their own. It's phenomenal to watch these, 7, 8 drivers at this point. Just absolutely duke it out. But Chuck, also no slouch back there in 11th right now.
Oh, yeah. It's tough to reach that final level. I don't know. There's something else. And practice obviously helps with that, but at the same time, sometimes it doesn't. One of my best races this year was one where I didn't have time to practice, and so didn't register me as a potential point scorer for our team, and I qualified best or second best on the team. And I'd done 3 laps at the track, hadn't tested the setup, so sometimes it just clicks.
So, sometimes it's intuition, it's skill, sometimes it is just luck is on your side. But luck is, what's the phrase? Luck is 90% preparation.
I think so. There's different ways to cut that phrase.
Yeah. Here we go around the outside. Chuck Blazin, Mitch Burns was trying to cut the quick corner around GSR Caesar, but it was unsuccessful. We'll see if Chuck can try and get by, pull a little Lewis Hamilton on the inside. Not quite. I'm going to keep an eye on this 3-wall. You love to see these little DRS trains form. It keeps it engaging for the drivers as well. You know, it is nice sometimes just to have the track to yourself, but it is also fun to race and to be in proximity. It really shows who's cut out for it, you know?
Especially with drivers, once you get up into the higher tiers, drivers that know how to race wheel to wheel and will respect that and, back off if they know they're not going to win the corner. Fight when they need to fight, but you get to a certain point where you're not going to mess up each other's races. And then it becomes really good, but really tense for laps at a time.
Yeah, once the race mind is developed. It's definitely developed in this grid. Travis Scott getting the better of Houdini, but he does have that 3-second track limits penalty that was added a few laps ago. Houdini is in the pits. He drops down into 18th as he goes in for the first tire stop on the night, lap 13 out of 29. I'm surprised there are only 3 drivers that have track limits penalties at this point, if I'm being 100% honest.
And it's scattered, like, kind of perfectly spread through the field. I think this is one where it's just, there's a couple corners that you think you're okay, and then they sneak up on you at the last second. I think this is one of them where, like, it's pretty wide going through, but then I'm trying to watch it maybe on the next lap. Like, it's a 90-degree turn, but then it gets a bit sharper just at the very end because it then turns the opposite direction. So there's a bit of a
final
cut.
Kick.
And that's where you tend to lose the tires because normally in this
right here, it's almost like a spoon, like the spoon in Suzuka. You get that double right.
Ooh, got Palmer picks up 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane.
Sure.
That's one of the roughest ones.
Yeah.
I think he can serve that in the pits.
He should be able to. Scarenzi, I believe, also heading into the pits. Maybe I was just seeing something there. Palmer, Mitch Burns, sorry, heading in now. We are approaching the halfway point of the race. We were there. So drivers are going to start heading in for their tire swap. We're going to see some hards to mediums, maybe back to hard. Again, I believe AWS was suggesting a hard, medium strategy. Continue hards for as long as possible, and then at the last moment, jump in there, switch to the mediums just for the technicality of it, and call it a day. So we'll see what people decide to run with. As more folks dive into the pits, we will pull up the tire map. Oh, we can do it now.
Why not?
Why?
Curious to see who goes first from race day with a 3-second penalty.
Yep, he's clawing. That's what happens.
Tino will go in first. I was wondering which of the two would drop first into the pits to switch the tires. That puts Tino in a pretty good position.
Definitely. Yeah, he'll re-enter. He will have advantage once all of the rest decide to head in. Mac also heading in now.
Not many, although it looks most of them are on their hard tires.
They have some time.
Seems like some of them might be trying to push a one stop.
Yeah.
Ones that are just switching on to medium tires right now. I think that's going to be tricky to take the rest of the way, but I don't know. Well, no, yeah. Gunner's taken 13 laps. The Working Man's put 14 laps on his medium tires. So you could get to the end of the race.
That's true. I mean, Working Man has also had a clean track for the entire race. So their deg is presumably lighter than the rest. Yeah, you definitely could at this point. Lap 15, you are on the other side. We are officially on the back half of this race. They could do it, but if it gets racier towards the end, you may start to lose grip sooner than expected, sooner than desired. You're going from hards to mediums. It's also a gamble to go hard, and then medium at the end. You're putting everything in that middle stint on that second set of hards. If you can't best your time in that section, then you're just signing your race away for the sake of a legality at the end.
I think a pit stop here too eats up a decent bit of time because it's such a long straight. That third pit stop, it's gonna take another 20 seconds. So having 3 seconds, 6 seconds of off track penalties on slightly loose tires, still better than 20 seconds for an extra pit stop, but you don't want to spin the car either.
I believe that was Gott Palmer who just went fastest with a 1:23.152.
Yes.
Look at that goldfish brain remembering the basics.
You just see the flashing colors.
Yeah. Honestly.
Those on medium tires.
Don't tell them my tricks.
Your trick is that you read the alerts that pop up on screen.
Yep. Broadcaster 101. It's exactly what they tell you not to do in a PowerPoint presentation. That's what we're doing here. Also, sorry about the lack of captions in the last 2 races. I think Mitch got that sorted out, but
yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
Not
it looks like they're
intentional.
working now. So if they're not, again, YouTube may have changed. On live streams, you have to set a delay for captions, like a decent normal delay. You can get generated captions. It used to then save those to the video after. I wonder if they stopped saving the auto ones. Not sure.
Got Palmer going fastest there. Wants to hear the call as he makes his way up into 4th place as he makes the got fastest. Fastest.
Wow.
They didn't teach me how to speak in school either. They taught me what not to do in a PowerPoint presentation, assuming that I could read. Joke's on them. T-Nell also advancing past the Plums up into 5th.
It gets tricky to read because people haven't stopped yet. It looks like half the field hasn't really stopped yet.
The interval goes away when you pull the tire map up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, Mac continuing the fight with Aston Martins. He sees green. It doesn't matter. He gets by Sweet for 9th place. I was going to say, if you want to keep that up for a bit, you could.
Nah, that's fine.
Wish they'd let you put something over on the left-hand side, too. We need a broadcaster mode, spectator mode in 24.
Never gonna happen.
We'll
make something work.
It's laughable that they don't have it. Whoa, we have a change in order. Joe Workingman finally ducks into the pits momentarily to allow his teammate Nicky to head up into 1st, keeping Williams atop the grid, atop the pack for now. Got Palmer moving up into 2nd now.
Workingman going on soft tires.
Okay. Joe.
So it looks like Nicky's going to have to stop.
Yep.
Got Palmer, or Workingman is 1.5 seconds behind Got Palmer, who has the race lead right now. Do they both have 3? No, Got Palmer has 5 seconds. So Workingman is, if it finished like it is right now, Workingman would be in 2nd, which would be 1st once Nicky stops.
Right.
And he has soft tires, so he's going to really build that gap. Now, he does have to worry about T-Nell, because T-Nell's 2.5 seconds back.
Right. And 11 laps to go. Mitch is our tire expert. You're not too scared about a soft compound with 11 laps?
No, soft tires are fast.
Grip it and rip it, baby. Let's see what he can do.
He took the medium tires to 17, 18 laps.
Very true. Yeah.
Whatever setup or how he's handling the car right now, I think he's good on these soft tires. He's going to go for that fastest lap too, I'm sure, and just get the clean sweep.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. As predicted, Nicky graciously bowing out into the pits. It is now Got Palmer leading the Qatar Grand Prix in week 6 of season 12 of Midwest Formula One Division 1 action right here on Nick and Mitch. But it is Joe Workingman on the soft compound who is quickly advancing on the Alpine. Will he be able to do it in these first few corners without the assist of DRS? He won't yet. Here he goes on the inside. Joe Workingman taking it swiftly from Got Palmer there on and inside. The slow break as he then blocks him out of that swooping right. Wonderful, wonderful job by the clinician, Joe Workingman.
Such a, like you said, textbook beautiful pass where got on the inside and then was able to get clear of Got Palmer and get in front of him on the outside of the exit. Make sure Got Palmer has to back off ever so slightly and not conserve enough speed to then take it back in the next corner. And with these soft tires, he is just glued to these corners. So he is going to start to take away. He's only 0.8 of a second up, so Got Palmer is going to have, let's say, one last shot here with DRS. If he picks it up, I think he may not have picked it up. I think Workingman got that 1 second just before, so he could start to run away. Got Mac and Scarenzi once again.
Oh, look at that. Mac gets by Scarenzi. We'll see if Scarenzi's going to take it back here in just a minute. Oh, almost wheel contact there after turn one. Scarenzi looking to the inside is unable to make it happen. They are almost wheel to wheel. Scarenzi not yielding an inch. He has to yield there to prevent himself from embedding in the rear wing of Mac. But he is not backing down whatsoever, keeping an interval close. We'll see if he can get by without the assist of DRS, because once we hit that straight, you can almost guarantee that he will be making a beeline past the Haas with the hand waving in the air.
And Mac was putting on a little bit of defense after getting by, making sure that Scarenzi couldn't try and lunge through. Tino picking up 3 seconds. Is that his first or is that multiple? That is his first. Good. We'll be doing a lot of math near the end of the finish of the race to try and shut out what's going to happen before it actually happens, and just tells us who finishes first, second, third.
Where's the fun in that? Well, here we go down the straight. DRS activated on the Aston Martin. As we cross the line, he is quickly gaining on the Haas. See ya! Scarenzi back up into 6th place over Mac. The two champions in a deadlock right now for 6th and 7th. This is almost more entertaining than the top three.
Well, look at the gap now for Joe Workingman. 5 seconds almost above Scott Palmer. Those soft tires are running away.
Race day also able to regain that McLaren wall as race day gets by Cali Robb. Yeah, almost 5.5 seconds splits those soft tires from the rest. I mean, that is just, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mackie has had one hell of a season to this point. T&L able to get by Scott Palmer up into 2nd place. And he did that in the final throws of Sector 3 before they hit the long throw. Wow, I really can't speak tonight.
Something's
Red leather, yellow
brain.
leather. Red leather, yellow leather.
You can get that part.
The teeth, the tongue, the tip of the
Sure.
whatever that one is. Anemone. Bah, bah, rah, bah.
Where's the mute button?
I'm an elite athlete, sweat, skra, ski. Cool. Sorry.
You happy with yourself?
Yeah, actually, that might have been
It
the
was
best.
good.
That might have been the best Ricardo that I've ever
That
done.
was.
So. Just all in the back of the out there. Anyway, back to racing action. 7 laps to go. We have yet to see a caution flag of any kind. Plums had an early spin in this race, or we presume as a spin, some sort of racing incident. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. He is now up into 11th, and he just overtook Mitch Burns for that position. So the Plums in that Ferrari definitely made a triumphant return to the middle of the pack. But VTEC in the other Haas, unfortunately unable to breach into the mid-pack after their incident, presumably with or caused by the Plums. We don't know what happened there. The 2, 3, and 4, Alpine and... I can't speak tonight. They went too wide. And then racing happened. And it was great. And
Yeah.
I couldn't say it.
McLaren's now back in 2nd and 3rd.
Thank you.
There you go. Race day was able to use his DRS to get past Scott Palmer going into turn 1. Are you speechless?
I'm afraid. I'm afraid to continue speaking. Genuinely, I don't want to say anything else. VTEC getting by Shreya Coleslaw for a gain of 1 position.
That was good.
Thank you. These are Formula One cars. And they race on a race track.
Very good. Ooh. Looks like Tino was getting close. That's another one where they can get a little bit on the track limits. We'll see if Race Day is going to try and claim second over his teammate. Palmer's going to close in as well. We're almost at a 10-second gap. Whoa!
Oh, careful, boys.
Whoa.
Careful, boys.
That did not look coordinated.
Woo! They do not have team comms on tonight. Wow, the McLarens.
So that one I need to know if that was a very bad miscommunication of on the left, meaning you go left or I'm going to go left, or if that was a bit of T-Nail not trying to let Race Day pass.
Very cheeky, regardless. Yeah, that was scary. But it is now Race Day, followed by T-Nail. These two, at this point, they do need to start working as a team to just block off Gott Palmer from the podium. You would think, right? Just try and, play defense. T-Nail should be playing harder defense than offense at this point. Regardless of driver finish, I believe Race Day has...
Gott Palmer has a 5-second penalty. The others have 3, so they do have an advantage on that. I was wondering if maybe one teammate had more than the other, and so you're trying to game the penalty times. Give the one with more penalty time, get him up in the second, and then try and build that buffer. I don't know, it's tough. Gott Palmer is looking to overtake Tino. Don't think he has quite enough on this one. It's a tough decision. Do you put Race Day behind? Have him defend? Because he may be a little bit quicker, bigger of a blocker.
Well, Race Day is currently 7th in the driver's points. T-Nail down in 21st place. So do you give those points to Race Day, who could presumably move up through the board, just maintain spot and accrue a few more points from second place? Or do you give those to T-Nail to try and get him back up in the pack? I'm not sure. If I was Race Day, I would want to finish with more points to continue my driver's fight. But yeah, that is a good point. Does Race Day have more defensive prowess than T-Nail does to make more sense from a team perspective?
And yeah, just towards the end of the race. But either way, this is going to be good for McLaren. Both the drivers finishing up top. They are in 9th in the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull is in 8th, but they only have one racer. They could theoretically catch Mercedes too, so could gain quite a few positions.
I also want to point out that we are making blistering time in today's race. There was no weather. There's yet to be a safety car incident, and it is just an all-out fast track. It is only 20 till on the clock. So, absolutely flying. Travis Scott's getting, I believe, another 3-second time penalty. It's going to come in. All of the fast maths are going to start mathing here real soon.
I think in the interdivisional one, someone was up to 18 seconds on this track.
Whoa.
It is just brutal for track limits. At this point, the top 3 have 3 seconds, and then 4th has 5 seconds. So, interestingly, I guess Cali Rob could jump up. So he's hanging on to an end here. Right? Let's go to leader. Cali Rob, 14 seconds. He's going to jump Gott Palmer with a 3. He could jump to 2nd.
Wow.
Because Race Day is at 11.2. Cali Rob's at a 14.1. So it's 2.9 seconds. Now he's going to go for a pass on Gott Palmer. Potentially T-Nail as well. Backs off at the last second.
Those 3 go in pretty wide there into turn 1 and 2. Callie Robb trying the cheeky move, but was unable to do it as Tino and Got Palmer capped him pretty well there.
That would be, such a good race for him.
Yeah.
He's at this point, if he can just stay on, and working man,
penalty.
It'll be 6-second time penalty, but the others have 3. Callie Robb at least can jump into 3rd place if he can just keep this train going with Got Palmer and Tino. He has the potential to jump into 2nd.
That'd be phenomenal.
Just for driving clean. Which
Right.
I've seen both strategies from top drivers. I've seen it like in iRacing too. There's penalties for going off track, but once you get to a high tier, I've heard people say that they, if I get 10 track limit penalty points before it really affects me, I'm going to take 9 of them if it gives me better time on the lap. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to take, like, Callie Robb's going to use 3 of his 4 track limits before he gets a penalty.
Yeah, of course. God Palmer getting by Tino there up into 3rd place goes the Alpine. And as it stands right now, God Palmer is the closest in points, driver's points, to Scarenzi. So finishing above Scarenzi will dethrone Mr. 9 races in a row atop the Drivers' Championship here.
Say 9 races in a row?
Yeah, after last season as well. If Scarenzi is able to stay in 1st in the Drivers' Championship tonight, it will be 10 consecutive races that he has been atop the points.
Got Palmer.
But Got Palmer
has only 1 point
race,
behind him, so that
1
will
point
end.
behind. Yep. Race day is doing well, Bone Crusher. However, there are some penalties on the board, so he may not finish 2nd tonight. All eyes are on the penultimate lap. Here we go. Joe Workingman crosses the line and starts the final lap of the Qatar Grand Prix here in Season 12 of MidWest eSports, Formula 1 Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. That's Tino going by God Palmer in DRS, and Callie Robb getting by God Palmer as well. Callie Robb, the only driver in the top stack without time penalties, is now in 4th place. He could presumably finish this race in 2nd if he maintains a clean sheet.
That was an interesting one. It looked like God Palmer just backed out of that completely. But he does have a 5-second time penalty, so I think he realized, the buffer behind him is 10 seconds. He's safe there. So I'm wondering if he just decided to not have a dog in this fight anymore, because he would finish, a little bit lower anyways. Callie Robb, now he could jump into 3rd, but he's pretty far back from race day. I think the damage has been done with that battle going on for so many laps. Race day's been pulling away, but Workingman so far ahead of us that he is coming across the final corner of the race.
Just another phenomenal drive by NLR Mackey, Joe Workingman, for the Williams team. He will take pole, and he will finish pole here in Qatar. Race day next across the line with 6 seconds tacked onto his nameplate here.
Was I wrong with those penalties? Did something happen? Because Callie Robb just jumped up into 2nd.
Wow. I can barely form words, so I can't do math right now.
Show me the penalties again.
I can. We will be able to look at those.
Yeah, I wondered,
did race
day pick up another one, or did he slow down?
Not sure what happened in the final. Very. But this race marks the 4th in a row for Joe Workingman. So Mackey really making his mark on Season 12 action here as he takes his 4th in a row. First Australia, then Zandvoort, then Suzuka, now Qatar. Monza is up next week. We'll see if he'll be able to hold it for week 5. The Plums getting driver of the day. Not sure if, from what I saw, I'm not going to think too hard about it. But I do know that he spun out early in the race, was able to make it back into the mid-pack. So Cody says so. I will go with it as well. Bone Crusher, I will respectfully ask you to rewatch the start of the race when we do the full recap, because you'll be able to stay up to date in the moment with that. So go find Mitch's wonderful points recap before today's race to see how the standings are standing. But there we go. Top 3 drivers on the day. Callie Robb keeping it clean, bringing it home for Ferrari.
Does look like race day picked up one. Maybe in the final corner, because he had 6 seconds of penalties.
Yeah. Wow.
Just brutal.
Absolutely.
I think we can see that in the race director, can't we?
Yeah, I believe.
Down to the very end here.
Who's the last one?
Race day in lap 29.
Wow. Wow. 3 seconds right at the end. Absolutely.
It looks like 2 on the last lap. Pick up a warning and the 3
warning
seconds.
and then
maybe it gives you both at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Wow. Well, that is unfortunate to say the least for the McLaren, but he's still on the podium in 3rd, and he will still continue his climb in the leaderboard in the standings for the drivers. Again, race day going into today in 7th place with 175 points. So we will see how all of those things shake out following the potential for Stewart reporting here following today's race. But it is once again NLR Mackey, Mr. Joe Workingman himself, coming in pole position, finishing today's race right where he started.
It was a very quick race, like you said. Joe Workingman up in front from the very beginning. No major incidents, no real anything. Just a race that happened.
Now that's what I call pod racing.
It's a race that you may not want to show your friends for the first time to get them into racing, but a race fan would enjoy it.
This will definitely not be the one that I show people to explain what we do. Taking a look at our calendar, it looks like next week on the 18th, we are in Monza once again at the Temple of Speed. That is Monza, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Well, we are in the Temple of Speed. However, Mitch and I will be calling Division 2 action. So enjoy next week's stream with Hotspot. That is set to be another wonderful one. I love watching Hotspot's streams because unlike us, Hotspot's like a driver who comes at it with like driver knowledge. And it's amazing just to hear him cool, calm, collected, speaking through everything like the expert that he is. We're just a lot of flash. We're a lot of sparkle and jazz. I get that. I'm playing to my strengths here. But yeah, definitely.
We're the Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart watching.
We are the celebrity throw. Yeah, 100%. We're the celebrity shot here. Let us have this. They're letting us play with the big boys. I don't want to screw this up. So we will take a brief dip down into Division 2 action. I can't wait for that. The next 2 weeks, Monza in Brazil. The following week will be in Miami, and that will see us in Division 3, and we will return to Division 1 action in 4 weeks' time. None other than Spa Frank. I can't say the rest of it. It's Spa. Thank you. Every time I do it, your mom corrects me, and I messed up. Yeah, so we will see Division 1 back in 4 weeks' time, just a month from now, in Belgium. And I can't wait to return and just say what happened here, because I know something is bound to go awry in the next 4 weeks. Who knows? Maybe Mackie will be on the same winning streak that he is now with 4 races out of 6 under his belt. What an absolute opening half to this season for the Williams driver. I'm going to stop talking because I did it all. I did all of the talking for today. That is I am no more talk, no more words.
You're doing a good job at stopping right now.
Words stop good.
Oh, you're actually stopping.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Midwest Esports Formula One Division 1 Racing here on Nick and Mitch. And thank you very much to all of our YouTube members here at Nick and Mitch, executive producers Bone Crusher 2D in the chat, along with Coach 34 and Mama Bell. Our executive producers, our co-producers, Killa Vapor, Captain Snowbeard, and Kirsten. Our fans and Fans Plus. Thank you very much to everyone who contributes a little every month to the channel to make sure that all of our licenses and creative, assets here are legal, above board, and giving you the best possible show experience. If you would like to become a member, you can hit join down below. You can also just hit subscribe for free. You're going to get a free bell during the live stream, as you just heard. Whoop, whoop. And we will see you and shout you out as well. So please tell your folks, tell your girlfriends. Hayden, I don't know if you're subscribed yet, but please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of Swee's following races. Thank you very much to everyone for tuning in today. Sorry I hijacked this ending. I'm going to go to bed now. Have a wonderful week. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Stay sexy. I'm Nick.
And I'm
Bye.